Secretary Carson, it has been over 2 months now since the CARES Act became law. The act provided $5 billion in desperately needed and flexible CDBG funding for our communities to address both the health and economic aspects of COVID response. But to date, HUD has only released about $3 billion of the funds Congress appropriated. And furthermore, there was a major lack of clarity from HUD on the rules around the first disbursement, which caused confusion and delays as the recipients desperately sought answers to questions like whether they could use the funds for PPE, COVID testing, or supporting small businesses. So my question to you, Mr. Secretary, when does HUD plan to release the remaining CDBG funds provided under the CARES Act?
Well, thank you very much for your question, Senator. As you probably know, the time in which we've released the first set of funds for CDBG was a record amount of time. The reason that was done without a Federal Register notice is because a Federal Register notice is not required in those situations for the money to be dispersed and for it to actually be used. And I hope we've made that clear to everybody. Having said that, Federal Register notice for that will be coming out in a very, very near future. As far as the...
You have some time frame here that, I mean, the reason Congress provided these monies is obviously to deal with the challenges that these municipalities have. They have greater demands. They have less revenues that are taking place as a result of all the social distancing measures that took place. So all their different forms of revenues are lessened. So this CDBG money for some essential programs is critical.
Well, of the $12.4 billion, $9.1 billion of it has already been allocated. And much of that has been utilized already by using the grant formulas that are already in existence. The last portion of that will be allocated by October the 1st.
Are you going to, by October the 1st?
Yes.
That is way too late. That is not what Congress intended.
Well,
the demand is now, and that there's no way that we should be waiting until October for that to happen.
All the statutory requirements and timing will be met.
Let me switch to another topic. On December 18th of 2018, I and a series of other senators sent you a letter raising concerns about HUD implementing an unofficial policy denying FHA-insured loans to DACA recipients, and we asked HUD to clarify if that was, in fact, a new policy. Your agency responded saying, quote, "It has not implemented any policy changes during the current administration, either informal or formal, with respect to FHA eligibility requirements for DACA recipients," close quote. Then on February 12th of 2019, FHA Administrator Montgomery testified before the House Appropriations Committee saying the policy has been, quote, "unchanged for many years." On February 22nd, 2019, HUD officials met with my senior staff and other Senate staff to brief them on the FHA policy related to DACA recipients. Those officials affirmed that there had been no policy changes. Mr. Secretary, you even testified before the House Committee on Appropriations in April of 2019 that you were unaware of any changes in policy related to DACA recipients receiving FHA loans, and said, quote, "I'm sure we have plenty of DACA recipients who have FHA mortgages." However, FOIA documents released on Friday revealed that HUD officials were actively discussing and had implemented a policy prohibiting the issuance of FHA loans to DACA recipients as early as March of 2018, if not sooner. So, Mr. Secretary, why did you and other HUD officials conceal and misrepresent this policy change to members of Congress?
Senator, I have concealed nothing at all. Do people have conversations? Yes, they do. And I'm sure they will continue to have those conversations. Am I privy to all their conversations? No. Do their conversations change the policies? Absolutely not.
Well, it evidently has changed the policy because I've heard from so many lawfully present DACA recipients, Social Security numbers, everything that we would expect from any law-abiding citizen who have been denied, who mortgage companies who have said that FHA has changed the rules. And so all of your department's testimony to date is totally out of the realm of what, in fact, has been recorded as saying. That's what the FOIA documents show.
The whole,
So this department has changed the rules on DACA recipients.
I think the whole thing started as a result of a question that was asked about it. And it then came to light that maybe some rules were being violated, and people decided that they better pay closer attention to the rules.
Well, that's simply not what's happening. We'll follow up, Mr. Chairman.